But if you're not careful, you can get caught up in the current. Soon you don't know which way is up. You struggle for air and fight like hell until your very last breath.
Randy's Random Rants.
Latasha is removed from her mother's house by child services and placed in group homes. But that doesn't stop her from venturing out on her own.
She ran away from them. She would sleep in abandoned buildings to lay her head wherever she could.
By the time she's 18 years old, she has had 2 children from 2 different men. But she's not ready for motherhood, and a vicious cycle of abuse repeats itself.
One of her, I think it was an infant daughter, was brought to the hospital with burns on her body.
She had also been sexually abused.
I would say the lines would have been blurred with Latasha from her history of being abused for so many years. Most abused become abusers.
Latasha loses
That she had never crossed before. A woman who had been used by so many people in the worst ways. And so now, this began to set her into a mindset of, okay, now I've got to survive. She just wanted to be needed by someone. And this gave her her mission. This gave her her purpose.
After a year of living on the street, she clings to a 47-year-old man named Dwight Jordan. The two quickly discover their shared interests and start spending more and more time together.
It was an unfortunate union. It appeared that Latasha and Dwight were around each other for purposes of using each other for benefits. I believe they loved drugs and were connected to one another in the pursuit of drugs.
Latasha was drawn to Dwight because he was the father figure that she had not had in her life. Dwight found this young woman who can bring him drugs. But more than anything, they were both lonely. And this is the classic case of where misery loves company.
After a few months, the honeymoon phase starts to wear off, and the two fight over their next score.
There's no more, Dwight. That was it.
You could increasingly hear Dwight and Latasha argue violently, aggressively, lots of swearing, cussing, things.
This nigga almost 50 years old,
upset that
beating up a
they didn't have
fucking
any drugs,
19,
that she
20
needed to
year
go
old
get
girl.
some.
Niggas is crazy,
Anxious
but
to
that's
keep her
what
new
drugs
man
do to
happy,
you, though.
Latasha does whatever it takes and hits the streets again.
So females,
I
especially
truly
ones
believe
out there
Dwight
talking shit,
Manipulated
like you
and
got it
pushed
all
Latasha
together.
to go supply the drugs by
Your
any
ass
means
could be
necessary,
somewhere
including
in a fucking
prostitution,
room locked up
death.
with a nigga like that
Latasha
one day,
confused
if you're not already.
needing as loving. And so when Dwight needed her to go out there and get those drugs, she saw that as he needs me. Therefore, in my mind, he loves me.
3 p.m. Latasha is outside of her apartment building looking to score drugs when she spots one of her neighbor's kids, Shenosha Richards.
Shasha was 6 years old. She had an older sister who was about 10 years older than she. And her mother knew Dwight Jordan for a number of years, and I think she knew Latasha for about a year.
That's when she spots an opportunity that might make her man happy. She slowly approaches Shenosha and quickly befriends the little girl.
Not necessarily pre-planned. The girl could just happen to have been there at that time.
She lures her away from her friends and convinces the 6-year-old to watch a movie at her apartment.
In some ways, this child may have been symbolic of the innocence that she lost herself. The innocence that they were taken from her.
Unfortunately, Shenosha has no idea what's in store for her.
Latasha told little Shenosha, just go into that room and watch TV. Latasha knew what she was doing on a conscious level, but subconsciously, she may not even be aware of the motivation.
She leaves the little girl alone with her boyfriend and proceeds to the kitchen to do some cocaine. Within minutes, she hears screaming coming from the bedroom and returns to see her man.
She came back. Dwight was molesting Shinosha.
Latasha brought Shinosha to Dwight because she wanted to offer up something to him and to get more of his love, what she thought was love. And Latasha was willing to take things one step further.
In an effort to please her man, she decides to do the unthinkable. And it won't stop there. She's about to get her hands dirty like never before.
This is probably the most horrific crime I've ever seen.
What Latasha was trying to do was to show him that she was all in.
It's almost 10 o'clock over here. It's almost lockdown time in the facilities. And I am hoping, I might even pray tonight, that these two right here get butt fucked, face fucked, and just fucked in general. Like every single night for this story right here. I hope that they're getting fucked right now. And if you're not getting fucked right now, I hope you'll be getting fucked in about 2 to 5 minutes for both of these people. This shit is pathetic. It's horrible. But the crazy thing is that it really happens. It really happened. It's like you don't have to go to the movies and watch Freddy Krueger and shit like that, man. Like, you just watch this shit. And then the crazy thing is that some of you motherfuckers listening just might be these creeps. And if you're not, your next door neighbors is the creeps doing shit like this. But it's happening.
Take Shinosha home. Then he left the apartment and went back outside to drink with some friends. Take her home.
She knew that Dwight was expecting her to fix this. What was she gonna do? How was she going to explain this? Now, this thing was on her doorstep. She could identify both her and Dwight.
Then Shinosha says something that will be her ultimate undoing.
Shinosha said, "Do you know I love you, Latasha? And the only person I gotta tell is my mother."
I don't tell anyone except Mom.
Knowing that Shinosha can identify the two of them, Latasha needs to think fast to protect herself and Dwight.
She decided that it was safer or beneficial for them
To try to silence her, the only option was to try to kill her.
Determined to make her man proud, she grabs the closest weapon she can find.
Latasha got a TV cord around Shinosha's neck and strangles Shinosha.
And to make sure the little girl can never rat her tormentors out, she finishes the job.
She had a hammer, so she bludgeoned her to death. This is probably the most horrific crime I've ever seen. For me personally, disbelief, astonishment, shock, and sorrow.
Her life had been destroyed when she was just a child.
Yo, somebody
So her
better
feelings
be
were gone a long
destroying
time
this
ago.
bitch.
And therefore,
Who
it
gives
wasn't
a
hard
fuck?
for her to take that one last step, something that she had never done before,
Man,
taking a human life.
Shut your ass up. You don't know
Shinosha's
what the
mom,
fuck
Hazel,
that
and
bitch
Shinosha's
did.
16-year-old sister, Tabitha,
I
are
hope
worried
she's getting
sick when she
fucked
hasn't
in her
returned
ass
home after
right
a
now
couple
with a
hours.
fucking dirty
Her older
broomstick.
sister, she went looking for her, and someone told her they had seen Shinosha go into this building with Latasha.
She's walking around and she runs into Dwight.
So as not to raise suspicion, he takes her to the apartment. Tabitha nods. A few moments go by. Inside, she hears someone at her door and knows she can't leave Shinosha's body laying out. So in a panic, she looks for a place to stash her.
Latasha put Shinosha in the garbage can to hide her.
She answers the door trying to remain calm and sees Dwight and Shinosha's sister standing there.
Shinosha here? No.
Tabitha asks where her sister is, but Latasha immediately comes up with a lie.
Latasha gave some story about Shinosha leaving the area with somebody else.
Tabitha heads back to tell her mom, while Latasha breaks the news of Shinosha's demise to Dwight. The two worry that they might get caught and scramble to get rid of any evidence, like Shinosha's clothes and shoes.
And I think Latasha panicked, and she did not know what to do.
Unaware of what's going on, some neighbors happen to be talking outside of her apartment when they see her open her upstairs bedroom window.
Latasha looked out at her and then dropped a small pair of black shoes. I said, what's she doing with some little shoes? And I guess being too young, we were unable to know that there was something wrong right then. It was just the crazy people that live in that building.
Meanwhile, Tabitha finds her mother down the street and tells her what happened. The two immediately head back to the couple's apartment to confront the shady pair.
They were very suspicious of the fact that something had happened there, and that the girl was probably still there.
In all the commotion, the entire neighborhood becomes aware of the missing girl, and a neighbor calls the police. At the couple's rundown apartment, mother and daughter frantically bang on Latasha's door.
Her mother eventually forces her way into the apartment and starts looking for Shinosha. At that point, Latasha decided to take off.
Dwight sticks around but refuses to say anything.
Where is she?
That's when Mabel notices something unsettling on the back porch.
She sees what she thinks is a doll's arm coming out of a garbage can. So she goes over to the garbage can, opens it up.
There was a scream. It was a hurting scream.
Get in that nigga's ass tonight. Word to mother, son. For the rest of his life, every day, every night, son. Get in that ass, dog. Word to mother. Like I'm trying to tell you. Forget the knives and the weapons, the bludgeon niggas with and shit like that. Get some lipstick. Have motherfuckers come drop you some lipstick off in that bitch in a little tiny little skimpy dress, little fucking, little sports bra and all of that shit for that nigga to wear. Word to mother. That's the contraband y'all need for that right there. Okay? I'm telling you. Y'all better get in that ass tonight. You heard? And that bitch, like, oh yeah. Know what I mean? Y'all bitches turn her out. Know what I'm saying? Imagine if that was your daughter. Like, yo, turn her out. Sticks, fucking old chicken bones, all of that shit. Dirty mop heads, all that. Mop that pussy.
This gave her
Word to life. I see any of y'all motherfuckers out.
Who sees an arm sticking out of a garbage can and looks in the garbage can and finds her daughter, and she's not breathing. She's bleeding from her head and her other parts of her body where she'd been sexually assaulted.
She carries little Shinosha downstairs into the alley for help.
We began to hear just a deafening scream coming from in the alley. You can tell that scream, there was something wrong. It was a hurting scream. It was, you'll never forget it.
Dwight and Shinosha's sister Tabitha join Mabel, and a crowd immediately starts to gather outside to see what's happening. They are stunned by what they see.
I saw Shinosha's mom holding her daughter and her body. The way her hands were hanging, her arms were hanging, you could tell she was lifeless. And she began to rock and hold her baby and scream.
No mother should have to go through the experience that she went through.
Meanwhile, during the chaos, Dwight is able to sneak away and blend into the crowd.
The police were there pretty quickly, and a police car took Kenosha to the hospital where they tried to revive her.
Officers quickly talk to neighbors, and it isn't long before they get the names Latasha and Dwight, and a manhunt ensues. Everyone, including neighbors, are scouring the area for them.
Latasha ran to another apartment in the same building complex. And when she heard the cops coming, she knew that she had to make a run for it. She was now in survival mode.
Suddenly, some men hear glass breaking. They look down the alleyway and see Latasha trying to escape.
This
She
bitch
looks
looking like
directly at us.
Spider-Man
There
and
was
shit.
no mistaking of who she was. And then she just turned around and she began to
The
run.
fuck?
And that's when the chase began.
That bitch hopped out the building like a Marvel comic
They chase
villain
after her
and
on
shit.
foot for a block until they finally corner her in a basement entryway. She doesn't put up a fight as she's immediately arrested. Meanwhile, Dwight's hiding spot is exposed when a neighbor points him out to an officer.
The policeman found him in a crowd of people outside, asked him to come down to the police station.
Y'all better be
He's a witness,
splitting his
potential
ass
witness.
cheeks
When police question
right now, B.
he reluctantly admits that he took part in the rape of Kenosha Richards, but puts most of the blame on his partner in crime.
Nigga, fuck you,
I think
nigga.
Dwight wasn't giving the full explanation of what his participation was.
Nigga, you
He,
did all of that shit. You get all of that
minimized
with
his
that bitch.
participation.
While Latasha
All
and
of
Dwight
it.
are being booked,
Oh
Mabel
my
and Tabitha are at the
god.
hospital,
What?
praying that Kenosha will recover.
That old
tried to
nigga,
revive
little,
Kenosha
really
at the
man,
hospital,
little
but they
kid.
were
What the
unsuccessful.
fuck, son? I mean, it don't matter how
Realizing
old,
there's too
but
much
what
evidence
the
against her,
fuck?
she admits to sexually assaulting Kenosha with her boyfriend and then taking matters into her own hands.
Latasha knew what she had done was just incredibly wrong. And she wasn't going to get away with it. There was nowhere to hide, so she had to fess up once and for all.
Even though she confesses, Latasha goes to trial, and just 2 days later, she is found guilty of aggravated unlawful restraint, kidnapping, criminal sexual assault, and murder. Her boyfriend has his trial simultaneously.
We prosecuted him on a theory of accountability.
Man, you better give him life.
Once you start a crime with somebody, you're accountable for the whole crime.
Dwight Jordan is found guilty of kidnapping, criminal sexual assault, and murder, and is sentenced to life in prison.
Yeah.
Latasha
Y'all
receives
finally
death
got it right,
and is
huh?
serving her sentence in Logan Correctional Center in Lincoln, Illinois.
One of the doctors diagnosed Latasha Pulliam as a sexual sadist, that she enjoys giving pain to somebody else during sex.
You say misery loves company, so maybe that's why the abused become abusers. Because they want someone else to feel the pain of the abuse where you've gone through it too.
She was going to destroy someone else.
Yo, get in this nigga's ass tonight. You feel justified or not? And there, it really doesn't even matter.